Welcome, everybody, to the Born and Raised...
Nailed it. So welcome to our podcast. This is the Born and Raised Music Podcast, and Kent blew it.
You
It
know
was
what
your
sucks
one chance.
is that you're the one who edits this, so I have no control over whether that actually makes it to air or not.
I'll give you one more chance to do better, and if I like the second one, then we'll take that. But if not, I'm leaving all of it in.
Okay.
High stakes.
High stakes. Here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Born and Raised Podcast, the podcast that helps musicians, makers, and entrepreneurs get a little bit better every week. I'm your host, Kent Oglesby. With me, as always, is Garrett Thompson. Even though you're also kind of the host. This is just
okay.
script writing on the fly, basically.
I like it. Listen, whatever is on that teleprompter, you'll read. So,
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Question mark? Yeah, we've got a good one today.
Yeah, Chris Mathien. The man, the myth, the legend.
Man, oh man! So we recorded this one pretty late in the night, and I'm a dad, and I've been waking up early recently and going to bed early, and but we caught Chris at I feel like it was peak Chris hours.
We got Chris in pure Chris Mathien form.
It was amazing. He is just so entertaining and so much fun to listen to, both his music and just him talking. He had amazing stories. He talked a lot about his career, but his tangents that he went on were just fun. They're just fun to listen to.
Yeah, he had a lot of really interesting stories and a lot of great insight into releasing music, home recording setup, and a lot of really good nuggets for musicians out there.
And he is just a beast of a songwriter and just a prolific writer, and he shares a little bit about that in his process.
Oh my God. Yeah, we've talked about this before when we were mentioning that he was the one who did our intro song. On this episode, we're going to play the entire song that he wrote in its entirety. It is a crazy song other than just the Born and Raised kind of refrain that you hear as our intro, but it's all a great song, and he was talking about recording a newer, even crazier one for us.
And he also he walks us through some of his production, and we'll have hopefully that song will be we'll probably include that on another episode, just at the end or beginning or something like that. But it's a great song too, so it's a good one. And did you record the Skype call, the video?
I did.
So we might have video for this one as well, which is awesome because Chris's facial expressions are amazing.
Yeah, he was on his phone, so he was kind of taking us on a whole tour around his home studio, and it's awesome. So we'll definitely put some video up on social media.
Cool. Let's hear that song that Chris wrote for us.
Right now.
Look at all that stuff. Look at this.
I feel like I need to clean my lens. Oh, that's
that
nice.
is better. That's a lot better.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so just a little amp area, I guess. Guitars, turntable, keyboard. Got another keyboard here. Lots of percussion instruments. A little microphone, microphone booth there. Bass. I got everything I need. Sampler. Don't use it. Phones, acoustic guitars. Everything is these are all from apples. Boxes of apples.
Oh, do they work well?
I don't know. Makes me happy.
It makes you feel like you put forward some effort, right?
Well, I've just been keeping at it because we volunteer at this homeless food drive sometimes. Back when we were doing real stuff in the real world, and yeah, we hand out food to people, but this truck comes and drops off all these crates of apples, and they all had these purple things in them. and they do work. I know they work a little bit, so I've been slowly just adding them. Yeah, I notice a difference just from.
It'll deaden up the room for sure.
Yeah.
Chris, have you
should
ever
do it
seen
for
the
your-
movie Hustle and Flow?
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what that
when
reminds me of.
came out, everybody started doing that. They go to McDonald's, ask them for hey, can you get some those to go things?
Yeah, just stapling drink trays on all the walls.
Yeah, we had to get a lot of lights for Renee's. You guys haven't met my girlfriend really yet, but you will one day maybe. Her Auntie Jane, they had a party for her, and they bought a bunch of lights. So we just got a bunch of lights down here too.
You got to vibe it out, man.
It's kind of vibey. Yeah.
So what part of Chicago are you in now?
It's called Bronzeville. Look it up.
Bronze.
On your own. You don't have to do it now, but
I can do it.
It's a historic neighborhood, Chicago. Very historic. Just because of all the musicians who have contributed to. I mean, like for instance, I could walk over this way and I can go and look at Louis Armstrong's old house. And then like Sam Cooke lived over there.
Whoa.
Quincy Jones grew up a block away from where I live right now.
Yeah, I remember you shared that video a couple weeks ago on Twitter of like, who was it that just like ran into Quincy Jones randomly?
Yeah, him and Mr. T are from like right over
right.
there. Yeah, that footage was was shot like probably like a block away from where we live right now.
That's awesome.
We live next to a funeral parlor, and like they said that Muddy Waters had his funeral there and everything.
Man.
So
you're in the right neighborhood, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, not really, because it's not. I mean, it's like it's so residential that people there's not really a music scene in this neighborhood. So it's not like. It's not like there's like a bunch of shows happening all the time out here. It's basically just like people just live. It's just houses. There's so many houses everywhere.
Yeah, like a neighborhood.
So what? Right. You're describing the suburbs.
People living out here. There's not like clubs or anything like that. Not much nightlife.
You gotta drive. You gotta drive. How far do you have to ride or drive to get?
We would just walk a little bit that way and hop on the train and go downtown, and it would take 10, 15 minutes.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's really great. We live really close to downtown, and I spend a lot of time in just different areas of the city. So anytime I need to get around, sometimes I'm on the train for like an hour and a half going up to see my friends in Rogers Park, where I think you were at.
Yeah,
we came up here. Yeah, that's a haul. That's like really far from me, but I don't know. My network is just so important to me, and the people who I know out here are just like sort of working on those relationships musically and personally is like important. I think people should leave their neighborhoods. A lot of people don't,
They stay in their hood.
Just like we could just, we have everything we need in this neighborhood. We got the grocery store, and so I guess quarantine life,
Quarantine
life. Challenge.
What's your new band like? You enjoying those guys?
Yeah, because I just started really collaborating with the guy who plays drums for me. I've been doing tons of stuff with him. So I got tired of programming. Every time I sit down to make music, I have to like find drums that people have available for download. I'll pay someone, in Europe or wherever, and get these like sort of drums that I haven't heard before. And then finally I was just like, told my drummer, I was like, yo, we should fucking go to a room and mic up your drum set and record your drums, because you're awesome at drums. And I'm like using these fucking loops and shit that a lot of people might be using at this point.
Right.
And
Dude, you were, if I remember, you were like at least it felt like to me, you were like a scholar when it came to beats. I remember you talking about like different beats and different rhythms and stuff. And you're like, oh, you know who did this one the first time? Like, I just remember you taught me a lot. You taught me a lot. And that doesn't necessarily mean, it just means I don't know very much. But I mean, I felt like you knew a lot about the history of beats.
I can listen to a lot of hip hop, and especially like 90s hip hop. I can listen to a lot of it and like I can I've heard hi-hats before on a hip hop track, and I've been like, that is from If 6 Was 9 by Jimi Hendrix. They sampled that because I knew that record, because I heard that record so many times, right? I was just listening to those hi-hats and I was like, and then I went and listened and I was like, am I right? Yeah. It has to be.
That's awesome. I love
like,
that level of nerdiness.
Stuff like that. Yeah, because I grew up with that software, like sampling software and stuff. I've been using it since I was like in like 6th, 7th grade. And then, finding there used to be like internet resources. There was this guy in the 90s called Matt's Funky Drum Loops. And it was, imagine like a really 90s, like GeoCity looking website. It was like one of those, but it just had his record collection sampled onto this place, this site, and you can download them. It was like all like 16-bit, like the sample rate was real low, so it sounded real weird, but he had so many drum loops, and I had the artist and the name of the drum loop, and I probably just memorized a lot of them from that website. It had all the big ones though.
That's the thing too, is that like, I was just gonna say, like hip hop, like every hip hop song, that was the big thing, is like they all were sampling stuff. You know what I mean? Like it all came from records that previously existed. So
yeah,
I feel like for the longest time, at least,
hip hop came from a place that was, a lot of people who were making hip hop, they couldn't afford a guitar or something like that, but they had their dad's records or something they just learned how to make instruments out of their stereo equipment, essentially, is how hip hop was born. I know a lot about that shit because you should hear my rhymes.
Is this real?
Young Boomer.
Sorry, one more time.
Mathien, aka Young Boomer.
Young Boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been noticing a lot of my boomer-like ways. I had to do a conference call with IKEA. I'm doing something for IKEA and Complex Magazine right now, and they wanted to Zoom, and I couldn't figure it out. So they had to call me on a speakerphone. I was like, "Yeah, sorry," but I felt like
that's everybody though. That's everybody.
Hold up, back up. How are you doing something for IKEA and Complex Magazine? What are they doing together that involves you?
Complex Magazine is doing this thing for back to college.
Oh, okay.
Doing some back to college segment, and it's what they do is they get these brands to sponsor their content, and then they're able to give people like me and videographers like pretty decent little budgets.
That's awesome.
And then I've only talked to people from Complex though. I usually don't talk to the actual client. So
that
being
sounds
IKEA,
right.
It's great. I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah, because what's IKEA going to know about you making sick beats?
Variable situation of somebody saying, "Oh, we want it like this," blah blah blah.
Well, it'd be with a Swedish accent.
You've been doing a lot of that kind of work recently, right? I mean, I know obviously you did our song. You did our song.
Yeah.
And it didn't take it like any. Well, what do we basically were like? It's called Born and Raised, and then you just ran with it.
I want to do another one. I want to send you guys another one.
Okay.
We love the one we got.
I want to show everybody the full length. I think maybe we'll drop that into the podcast, like right here. Well, we'll drop it in the end so they can listen to the full song, because the full song's really good
with the verses and everything.
Yeah.
I kind of don't like the verses.
I like the verses, man. I like the rhythms to the vocals.
You're wrong about your own music. The verses are awesome.
All right. Are you gonna play it like right now?
Not right.
Either beginning
or
right
end.
Here. Yeah.
Either beginning or end.
You gotta edit this stuff down and everything, right?
Yeah. We'll edit it down. But so you've been doing that. Yeah.
Can I smoke? The smoke won't bother you guys, will it?
No.
No. Kent vapes into the microphone.
I've been juuling this whole time.
Oh, dude, like a fucking 6th grader with Snapchat.
How dare you, sir? Also, that's accurate.
Hey, remember when you first downloaded Snapchat and everyone was blowing smoke at you? That was so rude.
The rudest. That's why I left.
Mm-hmm.
So you got into that work though, like you've been doing a lot of it even before us, right?
I started getting into it when I moved to Knoxville. Yeah,
that's right.
When I first moved to Knoxville guy called me, and he's one of my partners now that I work with all the time. But he called me, and he did something for Puma, and I remember he was like, "Hey, we can't pay you a lot of money," and I was like, well, how much?" And he was like, $700 or something. It was something like that, and I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, I can pay you rent for 4 months in Knoxville with this kind of money.
Oh my gosh! But you started doing more of that work. What is that like? What you like doing that stuff?
It's so amazing. I love it because I can completely detach emotionally from it. No, that's not true, because you have to not invest, but you have to assert some emotion into whatever you're doing. But in terms of like giving a shit about it after and handing it off to somebody else, it doesn't matter. They have to like it. That's the only thing. They have to like it. Whatever you think of it is a moot point, and it's not going to be on, in most cases, I'm not going to put on a record or anything like that. So I'm not really totally invested in anything other than what the client wants, which is good for them.
Except for our sound, our soundtrack, our intro song. It's going to be the lead single of your next record, right? Of course.
Well, I'm telling you guys, I'm going to do another one, and it's going to be. I think I can make something for you guys that's like a little more funny. Honestly, I think kind of goofier, like goofy Wolfpack vibes, like slower, funkier, and silly lyrics.
Well, you're hitting all the right notes for Garrett to be on board for this thing just by mentioning Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah.
But you made a song about a guy who gets stopped by the gangster disciples and then lies to them to get out of it. And you're saying you want to come up with something that's more goofy?
I don't know. I feel like
that's a real person who I met.
Wait, was that a real story?
Yeah, like, so do you guys remember I don't know how much of this I want you to put in the of what I'm about to say right now.
Okay.
We'll cut right here.
Yeah. That when we were filming that shit, we were all getting pretty drunk, but he went and got some
Gatorade.
And there was something happened when he was outside, and he came back and he pulled one of the other guys into another, and I didn't really know the guy very well, but he pulled into another room, and I heard him. And of course, like, I was just like, what the fuck are these guys saying to each other? I was listening to him, and he's like, dude, he's outside, dude. I owe him $40, man, for them $40. And he's like, dude, he fucking pulled the strap on me, dude. He pulled the strap. And so, this guy's known forever with selling them drugs or whatever. And he's like, pulled a gun out on me. He's like, he didn't pull it and like point it, but he was like, yo, give me my fucking money and did one of these. And then I'm like, oh my God, is this guy going to come up here? Do I need to fucking leave? And then they were like, so I confronted them about it. I was like, hey, what's going on, man? Should I get the fuck out of here? And he's like, no, bro, you're good. Don't worry. Okay. And, so this whole, and I got a lot of it on video, and I asked him if I could put it in the cooking show, because I had this whole side plot of this like drug deal gone wrong. Because then at a certain point, he forgot that I was there really, and was like, freaking out about it in front of me, and I was like getting it on tape. But I asked him, I was like, hey, can I put some of this stuff in there? He was like, please, nothing about drugs in the video. I was like, yeah, all right, I get it. But anyways, that dude, the night wears on, and then that dude was like, yeah, dude. He's like, I'll show you the GD handshake, dude. I know it. And like, I was like, no, I don't need to know the GD handshake. He's like, dude, I'll show it to you. I'm like, I've seen people do it 100 times. Like, I could probably figure it out if I watched a video or some shit, man. And then he like grabbed my hand and fucking did it anyways. And I was like, okay, all right. So crazy character. And it was like, who is this man? Who's this white kid from Palatine showing people how to do the GD handshake? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Can we leave all that in but bleep out all the names and pertinent information and just let it be to people's imagination what happened?
Yeah, leave some stuff in, but don't make it so if that dude saw this,
he would know.
Yeah, because who knows?
Leave his name out.
He's not. What would he be doing? It doesn't matter. We'll beep it anyway. But he's not going to watch this. But is Rico an actual person? When you say I know Rico, in the song?
Yeah, I don't know. Rico's just like I know a few Ricos, honestly, but Rico to me is just like a cool like street dude name.
Yeah. Oh, I know Rico.
Yeah, I know Rico. Like that to me is one you could pull. Like if you were in a situation, maybe you could just pull that out and be like, "Yo, man, I'm friends with Rico." Oh shit, he knows Rico because everyone knows a Rico. Do you guys know any Rico? There's probably like one Rico in Knoxville.
Rico was my nickname because it was my name in Spanish in ninth
Yeah, mine
and
was
10th and 11th
Cheech. Go
grade.
figure.
Yours was what?
Cheech.
Cheech.
Yeah. Hey, did you have a Spanish name, Kent, or did you take German or something?
It was Rico. Rico was my Spanish name.
Oh, you mean me?
Polish,
I
isn't
took
it?
French. I took
Your name's
French.
Polish, right, Kent?
What?
Your name's Polish, right?
British.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I think I remember having this conversation with you at the gym.
That sounds right.
Still go to that? Fuck that gym, dude. What
Nobody
was that gym
can go
called?
to it. It's the pandemic, man.
So okay, how many records do you have out right now?
I could go on my Spotify real quick. I got my laptop open. Let me see.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you have. We were talking about this earlier. You're the only person we've interviewed so far that has an actual Wikipedia page, but the Wikipedia page ends in 2015. And you've put out like 12 records since then.
Yeah,
that's exaggeration, but
yeah, it is. But that's good. We got Allergy.
You're gonna count them right now, aren't you?
Sincerely Friendly, Opus, Shotgun Wedding, Good Friend. Those are the 6. I've done 6 since I've moved back to Chicago.
But when you were in Knoxville, you put out like 2 or 3 a year.
Bad Friend was 7. Do What Now was 8.
Do what now?
I love that record.
Do what?
Yep, that was Knoxville. 9 was Calm. That was also Knoxville. 10 was Freedom Taste, which was the very first thing I did in Knoxville. 11 was Unique Man, which I did in the suburbs in my parents' house.
You released that one on a label, right? Unique Man?
No, that was the first thing I did independently. Everything else before that is with the label. I forgot what number I was at. I think that was 11. And then there's 11 that I did on my own, and then 1, 2. There's 3 others from the label, and then there's a few side projects that I did. There's a record I put out before I was signed that I took down from the stores that I don't want anyone to hear ever. And yeah, that's it.
So walk me through this. So you put out a bunch of records with a label. What made you decide to want to go? Because you haven't really pursued a label since then, right? You've just been self-released ever since.
Mm-hmm.
What made you walk me through that? Like, tell me what that was like working with a label, and then what made you make that decision to like go out on your own?
Well, I think I was sort of I basically like left college, and then somebody told me they would give me a deal, and I just fucking did it. Like I didn't wait. I didn't I didn't move to Chicago first and like see what else was out there or play any gigs or anything like that. I just like pretty much signed a unfavorable. How do I say that word, guys?
Unfavorable. You got it right.
Unfavorable?
Unfavorable.
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 Yeah, but I signed a deal that wasn't really great, but also sometimes I think back at it and I'm like, oh, those dudes actually paid for they like rented trailers and they did a bunch of stuff that we just didn't have the money to do. But they were really it was really difficult to work with them.
Yeah.
And it put a lot of pressure on my band members who weren't signed. I was the only person who was signed, and they expected me to essentially manage these 3 guys, and they weren't giving us any resources to incentivize people. And God bless those dudes. Like they stuck with me. Most of them like stuck around and like basically ate peanuts with me for a few years. And I really believe that was just because they had good faith in the music. But there's so many politics and like sort of coming of age stuff too. Like I was pretty young. I don't know, I wasn't that young, but just out of college, like you don't know anything about the real world yet. And so, and I also, I don't know. I pretty much immediately felt like I didn't have control of my productions, which was a huge issue. And then so as soon as I got out of that deal, which was 5 years, I was with them for 5 years. And then as soon as I got out, I knew exactly what I wanted out of a situation like that if it were ever to come present itself to me again. So it was an amazing learning experience, but also it taught me that I should just, when I recorded Unique Man and put that out, I saw an immediate return. Nothing crazy, but just the financial, just a quick, like getting, I think I made like over $1,000 on Bandcamp in like a couple days. And I was like, shit, I could have been doing this for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't work like that either.
No.
Because I think a lot of people knew my situation and they knew that I was probably happy to get out of that situation. And, they didn't know I was going to put out so many goddamn records.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a record that you do you have a record that you hope people say is their favorite record of yours, or is it just like it's all out there and you don't really care one way or the other?
I think some of the records that I put out are better than others. So I think like
I got that sense because you mentioned your first one that you took down. So I'm wondering if there's like any that you hope that you think is more putting your best foot forward and you hope that's people's favorite record of yours.
I don't know. It is now that I'm looking at all the songs, like Calm to me was a really cool record.
Calm was badass.
Because it's long and it's very diverse. And there's a lot of weird, like there's a song called I Think I'm Gonna Kill Myself, which I've thought about removing that song too. And because it's pretty toxic. And also, what's the other one? Oh yeah, I've thought about taking Devil on my dick.
I love that song.
Yeah,
I love that song. I love it.
The thing is, I feel weird about it because I'm like, like when my niece gets old enough, she'll hear it. She's like, whoa, my uncle's saying weird stuff about his penis.
And it's so poppy too, though, and like bright and fun that like you almost miss it if you're just like bopping along to the tune. You're almost like, wait, what?
People like it. Yeah, that's why I won't take it down because of the analytics. What the analytics are telling me, that's like my like 11th or 12th most streamed song on Spotify.
It's an attention grabber when you're scrolling through song titles for sure.
Yeah.
Not safe for work.
Hey, so obviously
Yes.
you went into like you put out a ton of records, and obviously there's probably multiple reasons for it, but like how much did streaming play into that? And like do you see a lot of do you see a return from streaming?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what happens when like you put out a record and I see exactly what happens to the streams when you put a record out. And what happens is your immediate fan base will start listening to it for like a week and you'll be like, oh, the numbers are doing okay, I can tell, like, yeah, some people are listening. Some people are obviously seeing the posts. And then a week later you'll be like, holy shit, dude, some of these songs are getting listened to like 100, 200, 300 times a day. And then you'll be like, fuck, you get this sort of like when you've got Wurlitzer Crowley on the Reddit.
On that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the surge of adrenaline and like euphoria that I felt when I was watching the numbers go up, I was like, oh, it was like a drug. And then you had to cope with after it's up there for whatever 9 hours, then you get on there and you're like, oh, yeah, people aren't listening to it anymore. Oh, I guess people don't fuck with me anymore. Oh, okay. You go through that whole sort of like, shit, it's over. And so that's what happens with when you put out a record too. And then every now and again you get a song like Pass the Vino or Wurlitz or Crowley, where for some reason it just clicks and people listen to it every single day. Every single day, 1,000 people listen to Wurlitz or Crowley, and then probably a good 600 to 700 people hear Pass the Vino. I don't know what it is about those songs that made them get playlisted or maybe make people want to listen to them, but I don't care either because I know I'm probably going to make more, and it's not going to be by any sort of formulaic thing that I come up with. It's going to be because I wrote a cool song one day. I felt good, maybe. I don't know.
I'm one of those guys listening to Pass the Vino consistently. I listened to it yesterday. It's a great fucking song. So close to your face.
Hey, I just watched. I'm midway through. I had to interrupt One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for this. Watching. Have you ever seen that movie, guys?
Oh yeah,
not in a long time.
Jack Nicholson.
The acting in that movie is. I mean, there's some questions about the ethics of the creation of that film because they just went into like a mental institution and just filmed stuff. Like some of those people in that movie are real patients.
Man,
yeah.
I never knew that.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, rewatch that one. It's a crazy, intense movie. Anyways, back to our conversation. You guys.
No, I was gonna say.
Trust me.
It's kind of like a numbers game then, with all the all the records.
I forgot we were talking about that. It is a numbers game. And somebody taught it to me. A guy named Netherfriends taught it to me. You remember him, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a guy named Netherfriends like really put me up on it. He, to me, like really went crazy with it. But he's got that like, he just has the personality for. He was just like, dude, I'm gonna fucking make as much music as I can and put it all out. And I was like, well, I want to make sure I'm super happy with it too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he gives a shit or not, but he. I try to find like when I listen to his stuff, I try to find like stuff that's like wrong with it, but like his mixes are pretty good.
Yeah.
And he writes like catchy songs.
I don't know if we've ever talked about it before, but I'm a fan of Netherfriends. I don't think I knew that you guys knew each other.
Yeah, we made a whole record in Knoxville. He stayed at my place in Knoxville.
What?
Dude, we made it. You can cut this out or not. I don't care. But we microdosed LSD and recorded an entire album in like
crazy.
7 hours.
I tried to go see him at the pub like a year, maybe 2 years ago. And it was a Thursday night, and Friday's like the only day of the week I have to wake up early. It was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. I was there till like 11:30, and nobody had gone on yet. And I was just like, I can't wait around for this. So I just had to go home.
At the
Do what?
What? Do what now?
Do what now?
The pub. What's the pub?
Preservation Pub.
Press Pub.
He played there?
He was playing with Palmer Squares and one other group, and nobody had started before like 11:30, and I was like, it's going to be 3 o'clock before I get home. I just have to cut my losses and bounce.
Yeah.
Is
Palmer Squares a great show, though.
That's a Chicago band, right?
Yeah, somehow Oslo. Do you guys know a guy named Oslo?
Yeah, we share an office with him.
Yeah, I think he like knows those guys. He knows Palmer Squares.
Yeah. He was working with them. We booked Palmer Squares for a festival last year, and he was there with them.
And in Palmer Squares, they make a lot of music with Prob Cars, who I make a lot of music with.
Small world, man.
Super. And then when I was in Toronto, I went to go see Netherfriends and Palmer Squares in Toronto. That's probably the same too.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And I remember I smoked a blunt with Netherfriends outside of Adelaide Hall in Toronto, and the whole time we were smoking, he was telling me about how he was worried that he had some sort of lung infection. He's worried that his lungs had collapsed or something, but he kept on smoking weed.
Was that legit, or was it just like paranoid high talk?
I don't know. Maybe he just like did too many shows and like hurt his voice or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he seemed like he was worried, but not that worried.
Clearly not worried enough.
Yeah.
Maybe he was medicating that was supposed to help it. I don't know.
Yeah, weed's
Hey,
good for your lungs, especially big ass
For-
bonger.
Tell me about your recording, like the way you record, because I know you mentioned earlier, like you use a lot of samples and stuff, but I know you record a lot of the part. Do you record all the parts yourself minus the drums?
Yeah, so I got this session up here. So this is, I can bring this up. I won't show it to you guys, but I'll prop my phone up like this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Try and make this so it won't be too loud. All right, so solo that out. What's this? Oh, okay, here we go. You hear that?
Yeah.
All right, that's the snare drum mic. That's the kick drum mic. You probably can't hear the overheads, but I mixed them down real low. And then I'll send this to you guys later too, so you can hear it, the whole thing.
Okay.
But those are the drums that we recorded with my friend Greg, and then I came up with this part here. Can you hear that? Yeah, sort of like a vaporwave. Are you familiar? I know you're probably familiar with vaporwave, right? Are you familiar with vaporwave, Garrett?
No.
I'll tell you about that. Yeah, vaporwave's awesome. But basically, I came up with that part there, and then we got bass. I don't know if you can hear bass. Can you hear bass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started recording lyrics. And then there's some like roads and stuff that's layered in there that you guys might be able to hear. Werewolves in the break room, they gather and they gossip over celery and ranch. I probably never stood a chance. And so whatever he did on the drums influenced how I wrote to the song, you know? Because he would do weird stuff, like it would be like, oh, the verse is longer than it should be, but whatever, I'll just record longer verse.
Yeah.
You know? And then so this little, to me, this part on the drum sounded like a little B part.
So you're just letting him get started on drums, and then you take that and just start building layers
but here
over
it comes. Here it comes. Oh, I forgot the background vocals. I'm gonna start that over just real quick so you can hear the. There's Shaker. There's another verse, and then you go to another chorus. I'll fast forward a little bit, and then he did this thing on the drums. He started doing that on the drums, so I just made this little like breakdown, you know, very funky. Yeah, so having another person's influence on, especially a non-melodic instrument, is basically writing the whole song for you. Because I literally I played that one thing, that one little keyboard little pad thing over the drums, and then the entire rest of the songs just came to me. I'm not lying.
So you lay down one layer over top of drums that basically gets sent to you, and then you just kind of know the whole vibe, everything you're trying to go for from there.
Yeah, I recorded these drums with him. Like I sat there with him, but I didn't tell him to do anything. I was just like, I gave him tempos. So for this one it was 81 beats per minute. I said, do whatever you want, and then he just did that. We did stuff like, I fixed up I treated the sound a little bit. Like I covered up the snare drum with a pillow, or like I
Right.
muffled drums to make them sound 70s. And but for the most part, he just went crazy for a couple hours, and then I just went home and did everything to him. Yeah.
Sounds like a fun way to collaborate.
I think it's really fun for him too, because most drummers are used to people like kind of barking orders at him in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
So
Drummer.
what do you use though? Like, what are you using to record right now?
You remember when I used to use that really old DAW?
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I use a really nice one. I have like a nice computer now. Somebody gave it to me.
Oh, fancy. What is it you upgraded?
Basically, a client gave it to me because they were worried that I wasn't going to be able to make deadlines with my old ass computer. Yeah.
Your old computer was responsible for some of my favorite records, and it was like an old, like super old PC with like the oldest DAW I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that DAW was from probably 2003.
That's crazy.
It does. I mean, it literally can do everything you need it to do to record a song. But the processes will take so long. That's really the problem I was running into. Is like I would have to render stuff. If it would overwork my CPU, I would have to just bounce the track and then start recording over that. So I was used to like this one time I had like a big client and I was using, and they called me and they're like, yo, man, we just had an emergency meeting with so-and-so. We really need to just get these files to them now instead of tomorrow. And I was on the phone with him. I'm like, yeah, I know. I heard already. I'm looking at my computer. It's going to be about 37 more minutes. Yeah, 37 minutes. I'll have it right to you. And they were like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I remember when you first told me that you had been using this old DAW, and it like blew my mind that you, with your home setup, you didn't have Pro Tools or at least Logic or something.
I for real didn't. I really didn't realize until I got really nice, a nice software with a pretty powerful computer. I was like, holy shit! I could have been putting out more music. Putting out more. But also, yeah, I did give myself a little pat on the back because I was like, hey, I did all that on that busted old HP, little $300 HP from Best Buy or whatever.
Yeah, you made it work.
Right.
And this coming from one of the most prolific musicians that I know.
Thank you, Kent.
Yeah.
You're one of the most prolific people I know, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you do it all the time. Okay. Yeah. I just think it's so cool though that I don't know. I hear so many musicians. I mean, especially guitarists. It's just like, I need one more pedal board. I need one more pedal to get that tone or whatever. But it's amazing to me what the music you were able to make with the constraints that you had, and I feel like that speaks to the ability of songwriting. Like it really comes back to the song.
Yep, I agree, man. It's what the song. What does this song need? That's really the question you have to ask yourself. If you're in a recording studio or something, making music, collaborating with other people too, it's like, wait, what does this need? And then, yeah, that gets tough too, because then sometimes maybe you're in a room full of people and there's 5 or 6 people collaborating in a studio setting, which, believe it or not, I do stuff like that sometimes. But that gets tricky because then sometimes someone has an idea and you don't like it. You tell them.
Yeah.
You tell them in front of everybody you don't like the idea. No.
You have to though. When it's your music, you have to.
In a way. But also if you don't want to be studio dad either, because I've been in situations where it's I felt like it was taking too long to go through drum programs or something like that. And in actuality, I could probably say, hey, scoot over real quick. Let me program these drums. And it would take 20 minutes or something like that. But you don't want to ruffle people's feathers. You kind of just want to let things happen the way they should happen in those kind of scenarios. And
you gotta protect the creative space.
You kind of have to surrender your own ideas of control.
Yeah, that's good.
Because you can do that shit at home. You can have complete control over a recording if you're at home by yourself, or if they send you a mix. But when
That's
you're
true.
like collaborating with people, it's, I don't know, dare I say, it's good to listen to other people's ideas too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dare I say it?
Dare you? You dare.
So is this going to be on? Wait, the podcast is just audio, right?
Yeah, but we're saving the video just in case we want to cut up clips of it or whatever to promote it.
You're so the cops, aren't you,
Yeah.
dude?
This is one giant sting.
Dude, it starts with social distancing. Then, dude, they're gonna start coming to our houses, man.
You're so close. You're so close.
I love your dramatic, like you pulled off the glasses and got in real close.
Yeah, tell the listeners at home that I got up so close to the lens, guys. Tell them.
They need to know. They need to know what's happening right now.
Somebody's got to know.
You can still hear me, right, guys?
Sure.
Yeah, dude.
What else do you want to talk about? How long is this thing?
We have no idea.
No, I mean we've covered everything that I wanted to talk about. I just enjoy talking because Chris, man, we used to hang out. We used to hang out so much, and so a lot of this, for me, is just me catching up with you more than it is for the podcast. But
that's why it's nice to talk to you guys today.
I wanted to get my points out of the way so I could just catch up with you because I wanted, I think there's a lot of stuff on here that like a lot of musicians will appreciate about like production and songwriting and stuff like that. I like your approach to like putting out as much content as you can without sacrificing obviously the quality of it, but you put out so much music and just trust and honestly, like I listen to every record when it comes out, like in its entirety, but it takes me about 2 or 3 records to get it to where I'm listening to it as a habit, if that makes sense. Like I'm 3 records, but I'm 3 records back right now, and I just because I want to eat that whole record. You know what I mean? I want to digest it, and I think it's cool though that you just like, because music is so available now. It's like, you know what? It's not going anywhere. It's going to be out there. I'm going to get to it, and you're like, it doesn't put any strain on you as like a musician from a release schedule. You're just crank it out, let them have it, and when they're ready for it, they'll get to it.
I've also seen artists do stuff like they'll post their project and then they feel like it's sort of anticlimactic, and then they also bark at their fan base. I've seen it. I've seen them be like, "Yeah, I guess no one's gonna listen to my record. I just put it up," and it's like,
oh, that's never a good look.
Really bothered me when I saw stuff like that, and I was like, "No, that's not the attitude you should have. You should just put it out, and then make something else, and then put that out." It's like eating. Oh yeah, cook some food, eat it, and then you shit the food out, and then you're hungry again. You got to eat some more.
And you cook something
else. That's how I am with these fucking tunes, fellas. You know what I mean? God, there's a groove coming to me. I can't quit. I really can't. I can't stop. I cannot stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
No, really. And this quarantine business has honestly just really solidified it, because it's really going bonkers now. I'm feeling like now I need to put something out, because if I don't put something out soon, then I'm going to have a whole bunch of shit and I don't know what to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
So I need to put some music out just to clear my own head.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I was wondering what this time is like for musicians specifically. I mean, for us as promoters, we're leaning hard on the podcast because it's all we have to do because we don't have shows to promote. But like for a musician, are you taking this time to record even more stuff than you would have before?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because usually there's a few times a week where I was having people over here because I'm working with a lot of other artists too. And both just like having people come and help me with my stuff, but then also working on their songs with them too. And having this time to myself has allowed me to really, really hone in on the recordings. And I almost feel like I'm like a kid again. And I'm like by myself in my parents' house, like figuring it out.
Yeah.
So there's this adventurous aspect to it. But then there's this also like, man, like that track I just played you guys. I'm so excited about that track because I really think it's fire.
When are we gonna hear that? When are we gonna hear it in its entirety?
It's getting. I sent it to Aaron Paris, who's putting strings on it. And I think once he sends it back with the strings, I'm gonna fix up some. I didn't hit some notes the right way I wanted to. I'm just gonna change them a little bit, maybe re-record some vocals, and I either want to put it out as a single or I want to just drop it and include it on a project.
Okay, so we'll be looking for it then.
I'll probably
do.
I'll probably drop it as a single sometime. I'll upload it this week, so it'll hit, sometime during quarantine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make sure all of our listeners can actually check it out. So when you post it, just when you put it up, let us know, and we'll definitely promote it and let everybody know.
The name of the song is Mirages.
Mirages.
It's about a guy who has a crush on a girl in an office.
So Jim Halpert, basically.
Oh yeah, I don't know that show. You're talking about the show Office, yes. Right? You ever see the Muppets do The Office?
No, but I love the Muppets, and I need to check it out.
The Muppets.
I thought you were just gonna say, "Have you ever seen the Muppets?" And I was just like,
"No, the Muppets did a whole Office spoof. They did the Muppets. It's called The Muppets with the Office font, and they redid The Office for an entire season. There's like 10 episodes, and it's so great. It's just the Muppets, but they're doing The Office.
That's what I'm doing as soon as we are
Kermit is Steve Carell.
I figured that would be the case.
All right, man. Well, this is where we're gonna drop your full Born and Raised song right here. Right here. And it's gonna play us out. So
it's great talking to you, man.
Thanks again, man. Thanks for your time.
Love you.
Hopefully, when this is all over, you make it your way down here, or we'll make our way up there. Who knows?
I said I love you, and Kent answered me, but you didn't care.
Well, it's because I was preoccupied by seeing you. I want to see you in face to face.
Also, you don't have
to show you I love you.
Okay, good. I was gonna say you don't have to say it back either. That's not why I said it. That's not how it works. For me, it's just this.
I don't owe you anything. I do love you, but I don't owe you that.
Just because I love you doesn't mean you have to love me back, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think you should say it back.
Yeah. Love, man. Love is a gift within itself, man. I don't need it back. I got it in me, man.
All right, man. Chris, thanks again.
You're welcome. Let me know about Dogwood.
All right.
See you, man.
Be good.
From Downers Grove up to Villa Park, he found himself out in Hermosa, and it was after dark. Way out in no man's land, an unfamiliar terrain. He didn't see the clouds, but he could feel the rain pour down his backpack. That's when some boys appeared. They said, "Give us your shit, give us your shoes. This ain't no YouTube prank." He said, "It's cool, I know Rico," and did their handshake. And when they asked him where he was from, he just pointed at the ground and said, "He's born and raised. Yeah, I lived here all my life. Some things will never change. He was born and raised. Lied right through his teeth, he lied right to their face. Got away. Matched on Bumble with a Kimberly, off the Kimball stopper from Beverly. Studied poli-sci and loved her new apartment. She said she'll never leave. She said, "Where you from?" And the whole room glared. On the palms began to sweat. He gets up from his chair, he fixed his collar, wiped his face. He said, "I did a year at Loyola, but had to leave because of grades. But I was born and raised. Yeah, I lived here all my life. Some things will never change. He was born and raised. Lied right